As we continue to unpack here on Reflections with me, Karitas, welcome. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is just going according to your plan so far, and continue to thank the good Lord for protecting us and bringing us this far. Okay, we're unpacking another episode today, and I thank you so much for all your comments, your reactions. It means a whole lot, and we want to continue hearing from you. Tell us what you think. We're reflecting, I'm using myself as bouncing it off me. Bouncing all these ideas off me, but I want to hear about your reflections as well. Have you started reflecting? I hope you have. Another episode of Reflections with me, Karitas. Okay, so when someone asks me about reflections and why reflections, whether it's be the name or the concept itself, my answer is just one and simple. It is that I feel like there's so much in here. There's so much in here and there's so much out there. I feel like I've had so many thoughts that I want to dissect and throw out there. I feel like I've had a lot of questions where I'm just left in wonder mode, if I should be using that word. But yes, so I'm reflecting upon those moments, those times, my actions, some things that I may have done, and I go back and I'm like, but why did I do that again? So we're reflecting, we're being open about it. It's all about being candid as we reflect. So no New Year's resolutions, it's reflections. Today, today's subject matter is a very, it feels like I always say each one is important. Each one is important. This one almost feels, the importance of this one, why this one stands out, is that it feels like it's the genesis. It's where the genesis is. And I'm talking about self-love. I feel like it sounds like cliché, or it's just been used so much, or people use it out, oh, practice self-love, oh, you should have self-love, oh, da, da, da. It is true though. But do you understand what self-love means? What is your understanding of self-love? Personally, I feel like the first and most important thing when we talk about self-love is, first of all, accepting yourself. You are self wholeheartedly. Really, accept yourself and take it all wholeheartedly. The goods and the bad, just take it all in so you know this is me. Now what? That's when now all the work begins on working on yourself. Because truth is, if you don't love yourself, I don't think you'll be able to love another, because you will be so detached with those realities, the emotions that drive us, the emotions that we live by. It will mean that you'll be void of all those. You'll almost be in a trance, in your own space, moving with your own thoughts. Because think about it. Self-love encompasses many things. It is about first of all, I'm going to even start with the two most important things, be it your mental health and physical health. Loving yourself enough to say, I've got to be healthy, I'm going to do everything I can to remain healthy. And then mental, guys, if there's anything that I have learned, it's the importance of your mental health. There's no ifs or buts about it. You've got to be in the right state of mind, the right frame. And nobody has the right to disorganize that and create that instability where your mind is working in its own frame. And it happens a lot. So you have people who are abusers, like how you have narcissists. Those are people who will use a lot of emotional abuse, and that type of abuse can really, really mess you up. So are you protecting your emotional and physical self, your well-being? Are you taking good care of yourselves? I hope you are. You're meant to protect yourselves. You're meant to, you prioritize yourself. You put yourself first. You say, you know what? It's like, I have learned this, but I learned it later on in life. That's the only thing, that I learned it later on in life. But I think everything that I learned later on in life, I feel like that is exactly when I should have learned these things. Because maybe if in my 20s, it wouldn't have made sense to me, maybe, or I never would have noticed any of it. But when you're older, there's certain things that you look at and you're like, apana, there's so many things that you can't, you will not take, you know. There were other people who say it differently. There's just so much. You have the years of seeing all these things. So you get to a point and you're like, okay, I've seen it, I'm done with that. So from now on, it is me. Personal experience, I mean, when I talk about me, it's, if you know me, for all my life, I've put people first. Like all my life, I put people first. Everybody else but me. So it's been years of taking. Because if you don't put yourself first, it means you're giving. And if you have many years of that giving, it leaves a certain amount of emptiness. Like you actually, you almost go into like what's it? Not a comfort zone. It's like you don't even notice it. You don't realize what's going on. You don't realize that you're moving far and far from yourself because you're continuously putting people in front of you. But here's the thing: if now you don't take care of yourself, if you don't put yourself first, then who's going to take care of those people that you have continuously put first? So it took so many years for me to get to that, to understand. Like you cannot pour from a cup that's not overflowing. Make sure you put yourself first, because you've got to dip from where there is. You cannot say, because of course you want to be of good nature. Actually mine, every time someone says, but hey Karitas, you're always. Honestly, I don't know how this is even going to sound, but sometimes like, it's beyond me. So when someone asks me, I say, I will open my wallet and give you the last shilling in my wallet. I will. And that's something that I was always doing. It was always everybody first. It's everyone you're packing up on people's load and you're taking it all in. And what that does then, it puts you behind, meaning everything that you would stand for, meaning your plans, meaning your everything that you would have been doing, you can't do because you have everybody else ahead of you. And you see, it may sound like a selfish thing, especially when we come to relationships. It may sound like a selfish thing, but you see, if we go back and think about it, if you're not in a good place, if you're not happy, if you're not fulfilled, yeah, and fulfilled is moderate, I mean, depends. But yes, if you don't have that feeling of contentment, of satisfaction, of like, I feel like you won't be able to deal with anyone else. You can't handle other people because everyone else is going to come with their own load and you're already in your own spot. So I feel like when you put yourself first and you love yourself first, it allows you prepare yourself to be able to deal with everyone else. So it's not a selfish thing. It's not a selfish thing at all. And it is in relationships, you can find that sometimes people say that if you show any acts of self-love, then it almost feels like there's a disconnect in the relationship. If you don't come first, you're going to come last. Yes, learning self-love or practicing self-love. Someone once told me that, once you get married, you pack that away. It means that there's no self-love. There's now two of you. It's not you. There's two of you. So you can, almost felt like they were saying you can no longer think about yourself. And I feel like that is far from it. Imagine if, as a woman, let me talk as a woman, you're in a relationship, family setting, you've got kids, you've got a partner, and you go through your dailies, you've taken care of the kids, taken school, all the hustle that you as a mother would go through, or as a wife, or as a woman of the house would go through. But you've got, there are people who go as if they're in automation, like you're going, and until you have a burnout, and that's when now you start working backwards. And normally it's late by the time you try to work backwards. So imagine you're in a setting, in a family setting, and you are the mother. You've been giving, because that's what it is. You've been taking care of everybody, waking up early, making breakfast, making sure the house is clean, everything. Like you hardly ever have any time for yourself. I tell you what, and self-love things are just small. There's a band playing, let me go watch the band. Go with your girlfriends. It is the most healthy thing you could do for yourself. Think about yourself, close everyone else out, and do that thing that because when you're self-loving, what you're doing is actually building yourself. You're growing yourself. So you're growing yourself and preparing yourself for the world out there. And the world out there needs you to be in that place where no one can destabilize you. I'm telling you, because there's nothing as bad as someone coming to play with especially when you meet narcissists, or you meet people who have their own intentions, or you meet people who are troubled, or people who have their own way of dealing with things. And I'll give you an example. An ex of mine, I have a former past relationship. Now, I did not know. I honestly did not know what was going on. But through it all, what I remember is just the feeling of it's just how I felt during those moments. I felt like, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see yourself, you're there physically, but you don't see yourself. Like it's like an emptiness there. And then I started feeling like I'm not good enough. I started feeling like, what I've done is not good enough. He controlled me, and that was mentally. He controlled me mentally. Emotionally, I was on a down, spiraling. But I didn't know, because I'm the strong one. I know how to handle all these things. But now I was faced with a narcissist that I did not know about. And that is someone that we're going to talk about eventually, because we've had so many stories and we want to bring to light the characteristics of that. And I hope by then we'll have someone to come and shed more light on that. But away from that, it was mental abuse, emotional abuse. But it's because I didn't put myself first. I didn't love myself enough to protect that space of mine, my emotional and physical well-being. And let me tell you, when you learn to do that, because I've started, I think I'm on the right track. But when you start going down that road, it is the best feeling ever. It's everything else that you do, it kind of clicks in place very well, because you're good, you're happy, you're in a good place. How about we practice some of that, eh? The first thing that came to mind is, especially in this digital era, is comparison with others. Comparing yourself with others. You go online, you see so-and-so online, and they seem like their life is just, the grass is totally green on their end. And you want to be like them. You see someone who has a physique, and you want that physique. You wish you had that physique. Or you're asking yourself, why not me? Why am I? You're comparing yourself to others. There's no joy in that. It's just going to bring you down for nothing. By the time God created you, He put something unique in you. There's something about you that the other person doesn't have. So find it. That's it. Don't look at everyone else. Everything that you see out there on the socials isn't exactly as it seems. Even the people that you see out there and you're saying, oh my God, they have their life sorted, financially are good, It's not always the case. And that's a conversation we're going to have later on ahead, when we're going to talk about people in the limelight and going through life. Like they suffer the same things you suffer. Financial, emotional, they suffer the same things. That's a conversation we'll have ahead. So don't compare yourself to others. Let's start there. You are unique, you're special, you're different, you're you. There's no photocopy, there's no negative. There's no negative. They can't wash another chifanani of you. So another version of you, not another channel, another version of you. So, I mean, when I look back, I remember those days when I never actually, for me, I've never really had that issue of comparing myself to others. I've always felt special. Like, you know, like I said, when you find that thing that sets you apart, that thing that is just yours, your blueprint, your like how you have your, what is it called, your DNA print. It's just yours. Nobody else who has it. That is you, and that's what you need to understand. Be you male or female. It's not only the ladies, even the guys. You're looking at a guy and you're thinking, oh, I wish I had his dime, I wish I had his six-pack, his car, his woman, his... Focus on yourself. There's a phase in my life when in the media I was so attacked. Actually, let me use those words. I was so attacked. Actually, let me even use a different word. I was bullied. Like, they would, every week they were writing something, creating stuff. And it go to a certain time when I would be going to work in the morning and I had to call the front desk. I would call the front desk and tell them, check. I needed to know if I'm in the papers that day. So I prepare myself mentally to get into work, because then you have people, your listeners, who would ask these questions. Why did you do this? Based on the story they read. It was such a phase for me, you know, walking upright still with all the media that has been put out. And honestly, I did not know. All I knew was that I knew myself. So I didn't care much about what they said. They hurt. It did. It would hurt. I'm telling you, if it was someone else who was not, I don't even know, I'm not going to brag and say strong, because no, that's overrated. I don't know. I think for me, my past, the way we grew up, everything that I went through, sounds so cliche, but everything that I went through, I think created a foundation in me that allows me face many of these things. That's all I can say. But later on, when as I continued to grow, I started protecting my space. Before I go for a water break, you know, I bring a cup of water every time. I drink hot water. I don't know how to drink water out of a bottle, room temperature, so I drink hot water. I'm just waiting for it to cool a bit while reflecting on self-love. So I'm going to take a sip of water in a bit. It's almost cool. But before I even head on there, I think we spoke about this last week. Don't be afraid to let go of toxic people. Don't be afraid to let go of people that don't add value to you, that instead take away from you. Don't be afraid. And you know, I was talking about it the other day, but I didn't really delve. I think I did briefly. Don't be afraid. I can't stress it enough. Don't be afraid. How do they punch a full-grown woman or a full-grown man? Because they also abuse men. Why? What is it that you can't talk about? No, love yourself enough and say, "Togeza no kwatako." That's okay. You know, all these things that we're saying about self-love, we've got to remember, I'm not saying them to say in light of you be disrespectful. No. You be arrogant. No. Don't be rude while you're doing it. Don't be, because self-love is meant to be reflective of you. I mean, when you practice self-love, it's meant to reflect whatever your feelings are, whatever you have cultivated is meant to reflect. And we're hoping that it is positivity. I would believe that's what one would want. But otherwise, the more you continue to cultivate self-love, the more you get to understand how to deal with people. Meaning that if you're faced with such a difficult situation as a parent that is toxic, you will dig deep and find that place on how to handle it. But don't just sit on that like a chicken sitting on eggs. Apana. Find yourself and don't be afraid to go on. I had so many ideas, things like processing those fears. What is it that you fear? What is it that keeps you away? What is it that you worry about, you know? And as soon as you figure it out, you then start working towards it. Like the other time when we were talking about fears, you figure that one out and then you start working towards it. Even self-love. You find those things that you've neglected. You probably have not been out to walk in the park. Let me use the word a park, even if we don't have any here. But you haven't had time to even just look around and appreciate life and appreciate your surroundings. You people, you're here on this earth. Many have gone. Many have gone and we all continue to go. I mean, we're all going the same direction. But while we're here, while we're still at it, how are you living your life? Are you living it to the fullest? And what is the fullest? Does it involve you loving yourself to the fullest? I believe that's where we're heading. Let's teach our children self-love. It's going to go a long way. I'm telling you, oyigiriza omwana neyeyagala si kweyagala nti bino yeepanka. Okweyagala muli n'okugamba nti nze bino byenzikiriza, bino byesikiriza, bino byensobola okukola, bino, you know, si kutuula awo n'ogamba nti munange nze. Olusaasizo saasizo, self-pity, you're there feeling, you know, nange me I'm not this, era me I'm not that. Self-pity is not going to get you anywhere. Because I keep going back to try and remember my own journey as a child. And you know, for me, what even made it more challenging is that I did not grow up with, okay, I grew up with mom, but not dad. Never grew up with dad. But I started off early. I started working early. I matured early. Matured meaning I took on responsibility very early, much earlier. I was not even 20 at all. So I took on responsibility a lot earlier. So I feel like I matured in a way that for me, you're not going to come and just, you know, I understood things from a different perspective. Like I felt like I was building that, you know, I won't even call it defense. I was building my personality, I was building my character, but I didn't know how. I didn't even know what I was doing. All I knew is that in me, when someone needed me, I needed to respond. When someone called, I needed to respond. Like, how do I sit when someone needs me? How do I sit when someone is calling for my help? You know? So in that way, as I continued, I realized that I didn't do anything for myself. Like, you know, you're thinking, I've not done this. I thought I would have done this. I had planned to do this and you didn't do any of it. Not a bad thing because, I mean, God normally has a plan. But yes, when you learn to self-love, it allows you to grow to your fullest. It allows you to live to your fullest. Actually, it even allows you or helps you discover yourself even more. Because as you learn to love yourself, you learn more about yourself as a person. And before you know it, you discover a lot more about yourself. I feel like there was a moment where I just blossomed. You know, like how they just burst, the confetti just pours out. I feel like there's a point in life where I just, you know, and it felt very good, really good. And I think for me, it was the right time. So I don't know what you're doing about the self-love. I don't know how you're handling it in your relationship. Now, in the relationships, I always tell people that you cannot just be with your partner all the time. You cannot just be doing what he wants. You can't just be doing what he wants, not what you want us together, because I push for two. But it is okay for you as a guy to go and hang with the boys and say, honey, I'm going out to the town with the boys, and you go. But you see, for you to get to that point, you need to have cultivated a level of trust. Not until I'm going with the boys. The boys, the boys plus the girls. The boys, now you start thinking so many things, you know. But you see, you want to be able to say, it's okay, honey. You even help him choose the clothes. You even help him with the cologne, and then he goes. And you are okay with it. Not that he has gone and you remain thumping the wall. It's because you have not created the foundation on which to raise those qualities. The same thing with a woman. If I want to go out with the girls, I say, I'm going for a staycation with the girls. Kagambako, social media tulete a staycation. I don't know. Social media always brings new lingo. Yes, so if a girl wants to go for a staycation with her girls, it should be okay. And the man should be very okay with it and not have any misgivings or any worry that, won't the men hit on them or won't this happen? You see, it is a lot of work that you need to put in your relationship. But again, do you want that relationship? How much do you want that relationship? It's work. You don't just sit and start. So if you're in a relationship where unaita wanona agenda out na koma sawa zayagala no na agenda, I don't know how you manage mnange, but that is your relationship. It is not mine, and it cannot be mine, because mine, I really want, it is that point where communication is the only thing that gets me through. We talk. Even if we are annoyed, you're crying and you're in pain, and you still get to talk. At some point, you get to communicate. So, even in your relationships, it's okay for self-love. It's okay for you to practice that self-love, because it then allows you and prepares you to be able to be the best version of a partner, of a mother, of a woman, of a friend, of a sister, because you're in a good place. You know, we cannot finish these conversations in 30 minutes. You just start, and then just, before you know it, the clock has just done a kahol kasama, you know. So yes, put yourself first, you know. Oh, boldness, exercise boldness. If you want something, you know, like, let me quickly say, I used to have this thing where I felt, actually, yeah, that's also another thing. I used to feel like where you don't feel I didn't feel my value. Like I didn't understand my value. I didn't get it. So then you'd hear people saying, but Karitas, and I'd be like, apana. And I'd pick the phone and I'd call and it would happen, and I'd be like, oh crack, he actually picked my phone. Like I didn't understand me. I hadn't loved myself enough to realize my full potential. But now I'm on that journey and I'm loving it. So it is reflections. I'm reflecting, and I'm reflecting with you. So do share your comments. Tell me, what are you reflecting on? Self-love, are you on that journey? Do you practice it? Are you in a relationship where you practice it? Or your children, do you practice it with them? Let's share and continue to reflect. Otherwise, continue to hydrate, continue to stay safe, don't drink and drive, and no glove, no love. You know, whenever I say no glove, no love, I remember, I'm like, no glove, no love was the HIV campaign, AIDS campaign of those days. Or take out billboard, what? There is no way you will even look at a boy, you will look the other side. Then they started showing us this Rita, the consequences. I watched that movie and you're tormented, you will not look at a boy again, you run. So that's why I'm saying that to you. No glove, no love, meaning protect yourself, yeah? Take good care of yourself, stay safe. God bless you, and much love from our Reflections family.